Disclaimer: this video does not provide medical advice. It discusses legal claims and publicly available information. Viewers should consult licensed healthcare professionals regarding vaccines or medical decisions.
Welcome back, everyone. I've got some breaking news to report. We are just now learning that the American Academy of Pediatrics has been sued for violating RICO statutes, meaning they were acting in cahoots for financial gain, as the allegations, with the vaccine companies. This lawsuit makes claims that they manufactured, this is the American Academy of Pediatrics, they manufactured false certainty over the vaccine schedule. They operated within a system shaped by the vaccine manufacturers and the funding tied to high vaccine operations. And two, the lawsuit claims that the cumulative vaccine schedule has never been tested in any way that a reasonable parent would suspect.
On January 21st, 2026, Children's Health Defense, CHD, along with 5 other plaintiffs, filed a racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations, RICO, lawsuit against the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. This isn't just any lawsuit. It's accusing the AAP, the largest pediatric trade group in the U.S., with over 67,000 members, of running a decades-long racketeering scheme to defraud American families about the safety of the CDC's childhood vaccine schedule. The lawsuit claims this scheme ramped up after the 1986 National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, which gave vaccine manufacturers immunity from liability. Since then, the childhood vaccine schedule has exploded from 11 doses targeting 4 diseases in 1983 to over 72 doses for 18 diseases today. This is the CDC's child and adolescent immunization schedule by age. The plaintiffs argue the AAP has been a key player in promoting this schedule as safe and effective, while allegedly hiding critical gaps in safety research. The core allegation: the AAP made false and fraudulent claims about vaccine safety, all while receiving funding from vaccine manufacturers like Pfizer, Merck, GlaxoSmithKline, and Sanofi Pasteur. They also allegedly provided financial incentives to pediatricians who hit high vaccination rates, turning doctors into vaccine delivery systems. CHD's CEO, Mary Holland, didn't mince words. For too long, the AAP has been held up on a pedestal as if it were a font of science and integrity. Sadly, that's not the case. She calls the AAP a front operation in a racketeering scheme involving big pharma, big medicine, and big media, ready at every turn to put profits above children's health. The lawsuit points to studies by the Institute of Medicine, now the National Academy of Medicine, in 2002 and 2013, which concluded no comprehensive research had compared health outcomes between vaccinated and unvaccinated children, and called for more studies. The plaintiffs say the AAP concealed these findings to maintain false certainty about vaccine safety. Attorney Rick Jaffe, representing the plaintiffs, draws a stark comparison. The AAP's actions parallel those of Big Tobacco, which misled the public regarding the safety of its products. Tobacco created false uncertainty to manufacture doubt. The AAP did the inverse. It created false certainty to foreclose questions. Both used the trappings of science to prevent actual science. This echoes the landmark U.S. versus Philip Morris RICO case, where tobacco companies were held liable for decades of health risk denials. Who are the plaintiffs? They include 2 pediatricians, Dr. Paul Thomas and Dr. Kenneth Stoller, whose careers were allegedly ruined for questioning AAP guidelines. Dr. Thomas co-authored a now retracted study comparing vaccinated and unvaccinated kids' health outcomes. Days later, the Oregon Medical Board suspended him, calling him a threat to public health for deviating from AAP protocols. Then there are the heartbreaking stories from parents. Idaho resident Andrea Shaw's fraternal twins, Dallas and Tyson, died 8 days after their 18-month vaccines.
Who needs to be investigated for the murder is the American Academy of Pediatrics and the pediatric practice that believed in AAP. These poor, beautiful little girl-boy twins, Dallas and Tyson, received a number of vaccines 8 months ago. They passed away on May 1st, and the twins had a reaction, and the next day they were in the emergency room. They were lifeless, they were blue around the mouth. The ER doctor stated that they were having a post-immunization reaction, and they continued to decline until day 8 when they passed away. Instead of investigating the true cause of these twins' deaths, the parents then became suspects, and the media had them as a potential homicide, and it's been investigated for the last 8 months. I was notified back in December that the coroner has turned this case over to the law enforcement and the prosecutors. So they are still being investigated for murder, and who needs to be investigated for the murder is the American Academy of Pediatrics and the pediatric practice that believed in AAP. Because what happens when the AAP tells the public and pediatricians that vaccines are safe and effective, parents then become suspects when their children die. And so, in my opinion, the single most dangerous place for a child to be is a well visit with a pediatrician that is not trusted.
New York resident Shantisha Nelson's 1-year-old daughter, Sania Carter, died of cardiac arrest after seizures following 6 catch-up injections. 1-year-old Sania Carter received the following 6 shots for 12 vaccines, all recommended by the AAP.
IPV Pediatrics, that is a combination vaccine. It's diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, which is whooping cough, hepatitis B, and poliovirus. The potential side effects, it says on the insert of this, are seizures, fainting, high fever, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, and trouble breathing. So those are already there, being warned that these things could happen if you take that particular shot. The second shot that she got was Hibarex. Looking that up, that is 2 different brands. So did they give her 2 of those shots, or which one did she get? That is not clear on the list that is put there. And again, serious side effects with that vaccine, both of those vaccines. Then she had the pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate, also known as Prevnar 20. It's a vaccine that they say protects against 20 different strains of pneumococcal bacteria. It has serious side effects: swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, difficulty breathing, seizures, unusual bruising and bleeding. All of these vaccines, they say, can cause death. They then gave her varicella, which is chickenpox. This is a live attenuated vaccine. It is not recommended for people with a weakened immune system. And we've just learned that this beautiful little girl did have a cold, so therefore she should not have been given this live attenuated vaccine. The side effects: infection of the lungs and liver, meningitis, and seizures. Then she was given the MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination. Serious side effects: anaphylaxis, encephalitis, inflammation of the brain that can cause seizures, a coma, and permanent brain damage and death. Also can cause Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is paralysis, thrombocytopenia, which is low platelet count, seizures, inflammation of the brain, and spinal cord. Then this child was given hepatitis A, the ped adult 2-dose vaccine. The side effect: seizures, and it says there is a small chance of serious injury or death. This child was given a toxic slew of the most dangerous vaccinations at age 1, when she already had a cold and she had constipation.
I don't want baby back.
The coroner found signs of encephalitis linked to the DTaP vaccine. The lawsuit states Shaw and Nelson's stories show what happens when AAP's paradigm corrupts medical judgment at the point of care. The AAP hasn't publicly responded to this specific lawsuit. The suit seeks financial damages for the plaintiffs, plus court orders for the AAP to disclose vaccine safety testing gaps and stop making unqualified safety claims. This lawsuit could reshape how we view vaccine safety, pediatric guidelines, and industry influence in medicine. We'll keep tracking developments. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications for updates. This video is for informational purposes only, not medical advice.